Welcome back. I'm Eric Faria. This is I Am, and I'm here today with Kathy McShane, who is the CEO and founder of Ladies Launch Club, and she also has a book called The Survivor's Guide for Female Entrepreneurs. So, we were talking about women and the lack of self-confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, what is then the main difference when a woman starts a business and when a man starts a business?
The major difference is that women won't talk about those things that they do well. And their mindset is that they feel that they're bragging. And my position is, if you don't tell people what you're good at, how can people hire you to do what you're good at? Which seems very obvious, but women are just extremely uncomfortable with it. The other big difference is asking for the order. Women don't like to ask for the order, where men are like, that's what I'm in here for, to get that order. And again, we're talking generalizations, but women don't want to ask. And what I say to women is, number one, people want to know that you want to do business with them. And if you don't ask for the order, what are you doing there? You're wasting your time. The other thing that's interesting to me is men and women, when they start and run a company, do it very differently. To women, it's almost an ecosystem, so everything has to play. And women are extremely sensitive to their staff and people around them. And it becomes a little bit like a mini family. And women also are much more inclined to give back to society from their company.
So there's like that communal feel.
Yeah. So those are the three. There are a few others, but those are the three biggies.
And how do you think that women entrepreneurs impact positively the communities around them?
Oh, in any number of ways. The easy way is to write a check. However, they often will have their staff or their people go and volunteer in a hospital, or volunteer in a nursery, or volunteer for the Red Cross. So there's a lot of that. They being small companies, female entrepreneurs, really want to sponsor things that are happening. So if there's a run for cancer research or Alzheimer's, they want to be a part of that. And they also tend to hire locally in terms of vendors. They really do try to keep it in the family, as it were.
Oh, wow.
And even today with the internet, if it's something that requires somebody local or that doesn't require internet, they're going to hire somebody local.
Oh, so it's much more, I guess, community focused in that sense.
Yep,
like
totally.
Kind of like a grassroots.
Yeah, I see it a little bit more like an ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Because men also think that if you fire somebody, you're taking a piece of the ecosystem away. Women think the ecosystem will fall apart. Men are like, get rid of her, get rid of him, they're not working out for me. And
Sure.
you know what, the ecosystem doesn't really fall apart. So that's a big deal too.
I see. And with the women that you've worked and that you mentioned in the book, what do you think was the one thing that once they were able to gain that self-confidence that made the difference for them to actually make the leap from, wanting to have a business to actually having one?
A couple of things. We run something called an incubator program. And that is a program geared towards women who have an idea, but they don't know what to do with it. And 50% of the women that go through that do not do their idea. The other 50% are so committed because everybody in the group really supports them and challenges them and holds them accountable. So once they actually launch, then they've recognized the fact that they need a support group. And then normally, or many of them go into what we call a mastermind group, which is really about ideation and about accountability.
Wow.
So they really do, it's an aha moment when they recognize that. And the other thing is women kind of get a rap that we don't work well together. And sure, there are some like that. But generally, they work pretty well together.
They do, right?
They do, yeah.
It's been my experience that women work very well together, or maybe, it's my perception. I was raised by a single mother, so perhaps I have that filter. But I've
Yeah.
always had that impression that they worked well together.
Well, thank you, because not very many
You're
people
welcome.
do. Yeah, but
Yeah.
many of them do. They really do. So that's the turning point when they really recognize, yes, I have a good idea, and they refine it through incubator, and I need people to work with me.
Right. So you mentioned the mastermind. So what is the importance of having a support system of other female entrepreneurs and other like-minded women in actually, going through to the finish line and getting that project done?
To me, there are two things that are really magical almost about a mastermind. The first is women all of a sudden have other women to talk to. And what I do is I pair women up. So they'll have a partner, and the other one, they'll all have partners who they hold each other accountable for. And what normally happens is woman A comes from a whole different perspective than woman B. So when they look at situations, when they look at challenges, the A is like, I don't get that. So she has a clearer idea, so she can share that with B. And so with B, it's the same thing. So that and accountability. Everybody who goes through my mastermind has homework.
Yeah.
And it's always about moving them to the next step in their business. And I don't think I've ever, in 10 years, had anybody come to the next mastermind who has not completed that. So it's that accountability, it's the motivation, it's a little bit clarity in terms of thinking.
Wow, that is fantastic.
It
And
is.
you said about accountability, and I remember when I was going through my own coaching training program that we had all of those things to do, all of those homeworks and assignments.
That's right.
And it was like, we actually need to do this as a group, right?
Yeah.
So that really creates a powerful dynamic, I believe, in my
Absolutely. And
point of
motivator.
view.
It
And
makes-
motivator,
yeah,
yes.
Because they don't want. And the other thing is they're on the phone or they meet for coffee, between the monthly meetings. So
Yeah.
they're accountable to each other.
Right. So good, so good. So before we go for this segment, what is the main thing that you believe successful women have in common and successful business women have in common?
They don't personalize their business. They don't think of their business as one of their children. They're not what I describe as thin-skinned. You just really have to be able to take those knocks because you're definitely going to get them. I find that they have to be persistent and they have to be focused. However, persistence is the good news and the bad news because at some point you have to say this is not working and be able to walk away from it.
So focus and persistence, those are the two main qualities.
Right, and they don't personalize their business. They recognize the difference between themselves and their business.
Very important. Thank you.
Critical.
Yes. So we will be right back with Kathy McShane.